I followed Chen for 5 years. 5 years of companionship, yet I never entered his heart. I tried desperately, but all I got was a single sentence. Chongqian, you can never compare to her, not even a bit. Later, when I was terminally ill, that man held my hand, his eyes red with tears. Chongqian, please, don't leave me. But Chen, things in this world rarely go as we wish. Chapter 1. When I received the diagnosis of late-stage lung cancer, I cried for a long time. After crying, I shakily dialed Chen's number. The other end of the line was filled with the noise of a bar. Brother Chen, Sister Bai Yuan is coming back tomorrow. I think Sister Bai is better than all of them. If I had to choose one sister-in-law, I'd choose Sister Bai. I felt inexplicably nervous but heard Chen say, Bai Yuan is different. The call was disconnected. My heart sank to the bottom. I knew about Bai Yuan's existence. A family background on par with Chen's, she chose to study abroad for her pursuit of art. This led to their breakup. I could never compare to her. However, I should thank her. The day they broke up was the first day Chen and I were together. I vaguely remember it was raining heavily and the sky was dark. I was barefoot, shivering as I danced in front of Chen, forcing out a smile. But tears kept falling. Chen said nothing, showing no attitude. When he left, he took me with him. As for the reason, I overheard the servants talking. They said I looked like Miss Bai. So that's it. What I thought was the moon was just a discarded lamp, briefly shining on me. Chapter 2. The next day. The bed beside me was still cold. Chen didn't come back yesterday. Now that the real one had returned, the stand-in had to make way. I quietly packed up, putting everything Chen had given me into a drawer. I only took the money I had saved from my time as a small-time actress. I used to enjoy acting as a whim, even though I only played a few minor roles. The money wasn't much, but it was enough for a simple life. I called my agent and resigned during a confused conversation. I rented a room outside, decorating it warmly. I even adopted a cat. I used to see myself as a canary, grateful but always feeling lonely. I always followed his preferences. No warm-colored decor in the room, no cats because he was allergic to cat hair. I was too tired. During my school years, I focused only on studying, thinking that following a conventional path would lead to a good life. But somewhere along the line, the gears shifted, and my life took a harsh turn, never returning to its previous path. My mother still lay there quietly, very peacefully. I replaced the flowers in her hospital room and tidied everything up. She was always neat and serious, disliking messy environments. Mom, if you could wake up, what would you say? On the way back, Chen messaged me. I'll be on a business trip for the next few days, won't be back. I smiled bitterly. Reunited lovers need no excuses. I was just a stand-in, wasn't I? I didn't reply. The jacket I ordered arrived, along with a cool hiking backpack. A few years ago, I whimsically wrote a bucket list. One item was to visit Tibet. The textbook description of the wind blows over the grass, revealing cattle and sheep. Always fascinated me. I arranged for the cat to stay at a pet shop, turned off the water and electricity, and planned to leave tomorrow. My phone showed many messages. All from Chen. Throwing a tantrum? I'll be back soon? Chongqian, you've crossed the line. What does it have to do with me? I'm dying, and I owe him nothing now. From now on, I will live according to my own will. I packed my things and set off. As soon as I entered the train station, I sensed something unusual. It was quiet, and the staff's attitude was strange. After the security check, I looked up and saw Chen. At this inappropriate moment, I thought, Chen probably has never been to a train station. Chapter 3. Chen's face was dark, and I was brought directly in front of him. Chongqian, I've spoiled you too much. You actually tried to run away. Chen pinched my chin, his eyes burning with anger. No, I tried to explain, but he never listened to me. Take her back. We returned to where we had left. Chen gripped my hand tightly, hurting my wrist. He dragged me into the house. I stumbled and suddenly met the eyes of Lu's mother. She and Yuan were sitting on the sofa, frowning as they looked at me. I suddenly felt ashamed, my toes curling in embarrassment. My shoes had come off during the struggle, and I hadn't put them back on. Chen, you're about to marry Yuan. Don't bring these messy people back. How do you think Yuan feels? Lu's mother gave me a disdainful look and then comforted Yuan. Yuan's eyes were red, looking up at Chen. Chen frowned and had the butler take me to his bedroom. I had never been to this bedroom before. He probably brought me here in a hurry to see Yuan. But since they were getting married, why not let me go? I sat blankly on the bed, the simple decor matching Chen's aesthetic. It still seemed to have his presence. I still wanted to love him. But I'm going to die. And he's getting married. Tears streamed down my face. Chen walked in and saw this scene. He roughly grabbed my waist with one hand and pinched my chin with the other. Why are you crying? You made it hard for me to find you. Chongqian, you've become bolder, daring to run away. Who gave you the courage, huh? He wiped away my tears with one hand, his voice tinged with pity. You're getting married, I said, looking at him seriously. Chen sneered. Wrong, Qian, don't forget your place. Don't covet what you can't have. I laughed bitterly. I know, I never forgot. I had spent 5 years with him. What did those 5 years mean? Chen reached out to pull me closer, wanting to kiss me. I struggled hard. Chen got angry and forcefully grabbed my hands, lifting them above my head. Wrong, Qian, don't push me. I laughed weakly, letting him do as he wished. Chen, when I die, will you be sad? Chapter 4. I woke up late. Chen was long gone. Miss, lunch is ready. Aunt Lee knocked on the door, but when no one responded, she left. I didn't want to move. Click. The door opened. Lu's mother walked in, her eyes sharp as she stared at me. I uneasily pulled the blanket tighter around me. Lu's mother sneered disdainfully. I've seen many like you. Chen and Yuan are about to get married. I advise you to leave Chen early and not ruin their marriage. I smiled bitterly, never imagining I'd become a threat to others. But do they really know? To Chen, I was nothing. Seeing me not respond, Lu's mother got even angrier. Such poor manners. I wonder what kind of mother could raise a girl like you. Her words ignited my fury. I stared at her, smirking sarcastically. Forgive my bluntness, but your son isn't any good either, considering he made me his mistress. Slap. Lu's mother, enraged, slapped me hard. Chen has always been exceptional. You are his only blemish. You bewitched him. If you don't leave him, don't blame me for using other means. With that, she stormed out. I was left in a daze. I hadn't always depended on Chen. My father was framed and killed by powerful people. My mother was always strict, hoping I would get into law school to seek justice for my father. I worked hard, but then my mother had a car accident. She needed a lot of money. Is life always this difficult? Or has it always been? Always. I didn't understand these words as a child. Now I do, but it's too late to go back. I got up and had lunch. The butler politely came to fetch me. Mr. Lu is drunk and wants you to come. The butler spoke courteously, pretending not to see the hickeys on my collarbone. All right, let me get ready. The bar was dark and flashy. Everyone was having a good time, dancing or drinking. I found Chen in a private room in the back. Yuan was sitting beside him. There were also many friends. Even though I had been with Chen for 5 years, he never introduced me to his friends. Some of them even glanced secretly at Yuan. Yuan remained silent. Drink. Chen, though drunk, still had sharp eyes. Sister Bai, Brother Lu didn't mean anything by it. Don't misunderstand. Someone hastily explained. From their chaotic explanations, I pieced together the situation. Chen and Yuan were drinking with friends. Chen asked Yuan to drink, but she was upset and refused. So he called me over. I stared at him blankly, pain shooting through my lungs. Cough, cough. Chen smirked. Don't pretend. I forced a smile through the pain, my body growing colder. All right. 4 bottles of strong liquor were neatly lined up on the table. I calmly picked up a bottle. Someone opened the cap for me. Brother Lu, this girl is so skinny. Don't make her drink. Someone hesitated but was silenced by Chen's glare. She can drink, let her. Chen's cold voice reached my ears. Why was he angry? I drank without hesitation, without pausing. The liquor burned my throat, causing intense pain. My vision blurred. Just before I passed out, a voice stopped me. Stop drinking. It was a steady voice. I couldn't see clearly. I wanted to vomit. I hurried to the bathroom. I threw up for a long time. Why are you so stubborn? Chapter 5. It was the steady voice again. This time I saw clearly. Chen had a sharp, handsome face, exuding arrogance. This man was calm, squatting beside me, his eyes devoid of disdain, very calm. Chen probably didn't really want you to drink. I smiled bitterly. So what? I still drank, didn't I? Unspoken words still counted? He tried to help me up. I didn't accept. Wobbling, I stood up. He didn't follow. I took a cab to the hospital. Dizzy, I found my mother's room. I rested my head on her bed. Mom, I miss you so much. When will you wake up? Half asleep, someone lifted me. I couldn't see clearly. My head hurt so much. I groaned. But a hand gripped me tightly. I know you're awake. Chen's cold voice exploded in my ear. I opened my eyes weakly and smiled bitterly at him. Can you let me go? Chen's face turned cold, pressing closer, his face full of anger. Wrong, Guan, remember your place. Of course I knew. I never forgot. How do you know Guoan? Chen asked, frowning, his grip tightening. You, let go. My body hurt, and my illness worsened. I struggled weakly. Chen sneered, tossing me aside, standing up coldly. I don't care how you know him. I advise you to forget it. Don't forget your mother is still in the hospital. My eyes narrowed. Chen, satisfied with my reaction, smiled. He gently kissed my face. There's a banquet tonight. You're coming. I'll send a driver. My lungs hurt. I don't want to. I forced out the words. But Chen ignored me. He was always like this, looking down on those below his class. Besides, I had proposed the deal. In his eyes, I didn't deserve his respect. I smiled bitterly, my head still dizzy. I went downstairs for some sobering tea. The servants gathered, unwilling to serve me. Miss Wrong, if you want tea, make it yourself. But the kitchen was spotless. I had to go back. I sat in my room dazed. The butler came to get me again. To get my makeup done. A black dress, backless design. Chen wrapped his arm around my waist, pausing momentarily before returning to normal. I have a surprise for you. With everyone's eyes on us, Chen led me inside. Standing in front was the man who told me not to drink, Guoan. I smiled. Was he the surprise? Chen, you really don't understand me. Chapter 6. Chen tightened his grip on my waist, initiating a greeting with Guoan. Did he think I wanted to leave him for a new benefactor? Mr. Lu, your companion doesn't look well. Chen's face darkened. It's none of your concern, Mr. Gu, just remember she's my woman. Mr. Gu smiled, speaking meaningfully. I hope Mr. Lu knows that too. Chen pulled me closer. I know very well. Don't worry. Mr. Gu raised his glass, saying nothing. Chen's expression turned sour. Wrong Guan, he's nothing special. He spoke to me intimately, heads close together. People whispered around us. Isn't Mr. Lu engaged? You don't understand. Flags fly at home, but banners wave outside. Big families, you know? Chen noticed by Yuan crying not far away. He left me and walked towards her. I was helpless. People's gazes grew more disdainful. Of course the fiancée is more important. She's kind of pitiful. Pitiful. She's with Mr. Lu. She must have plenty of benefits. Listening to their gossip, I felt even more lost. What could I say? Why bother explaining? I found a corner to quietly drink. A servant bumped into me, spilling my drink. He kept apologizing. I couldn't say anything, so I went to the bathroom to clean up. As soon as I opened the bathroom door, I sensed something was wrong. Before I could react, a hand grabbed me and pulled me in. Slap. The shower turned on. My face was slapped hard. Ah. The girl who used to bully me appeared again. The blurred vision triggered my fear, still in the bathroom. Wrong Guan, how many times do I have to tell you? Zhu Ziki is mine. How dare you touch him? The girl's fierce face blurred in the water. I was drenched in cold water, stammering. I didn't. He approached me. Before I could finish, she slapped me again. Are you saying I'm not as good as you? Wrong Guan, you're a slut. Beat her. After my father was killed, my school life worsened. Several girls often mocked me, ridiculed me, always discussing my faded clothes and thin face. Sometimes they even hit me. I endured, but my mother fell ill. Wrong Guan, who knew you'd be so lucky? Dropping out and landing a rich guy. The three girls laughed, their malice undisguised. Who sent you? Curled up on the ground, my body ached intensely. I asked weakly. We're just doing the world a favor. Sluts like you should be punished. More pain followed, my ears filled with their insults and laughter. Bang! The door was kicked open. Yuan rushed in. His face stern, he quickly dealt with the three girls, then lifted me. Are you okay? I forced a weak smile. Thank you, Mr. Gu. Yuan was soaked, but he felt warm and steady. I instinctively leaned towards him, but stopped when I saw Chen and Bai Yuan rush in. Chen quickly dealt with the three girls, then stood in front of Yuan. Give her back to me. Yuan didn't move. Chen was about to fight, but I intervened. Mr. Gu, thanks. You can put me down now. This was between Chen and me. I didn't want to involve Yuan. Yuan's expression didn't change. I don't think you love her. Chen sneered, pulling a mocking smile. None of your business. Give her back. Wrong Guan, don't forget your mother. I froze, my pale face forcing a smile at Yuan, with a hint of pleading. Thank you, Mr. Gu, please put me down. Yuan gently set me down, looking deeply into my eyes. Find me anytime. Chen laughed angrily, ignoring Bai Yuan, dragging me away. I stumbled, bruises aching, wet clothes cold in the wind. But Chen didn't notice. He angrily shoved me into the car. The atmosphere inside was icy. Chapter 7. Wrong Guan, explain. Chen finally noticed my condition, carefully buttoning his coat over me. I felt his care but no warmth. I have nothing to do with him. He was just helping me. Chen paused. All right. No more words. I didn't know if he believed me or suspected an affair with Yuan. I didn't care anymore. The pain grew worse. I leaned against the car window, softly moaning. Tears streamed down, and I inadvertently thought of that warm shoulder. Chen finally noticed. He hurriedly supported me. "Chongqian, what's wrong?" Lifting my clothes, he saw the bruises and wounds. "Damn it!" He clenched his fists, his voice icy. "Drive faster." The driver sped up, reaching Lu's house quickly. Chen carried me in. The family doctor was already waiting. The doctor examined me, prescribing medicine for bruises and swelling. But he hesitated. "Miss Rong's health seems poor. It's best to get a full checkup at the hospital." Chen agreed, sending the doctor out. Carefully applying medicine to my wounds and bruises. I stared at his face, recalling our first meeting. My first time at a nightclub. My mother was sick, needing lots of money. I had borrowed for a long time, but no relatives would lend anymore. Thinking it over, I went to the nightclub, hearing it was quick money. A customer spiked my drink. "Where is she?" I was curled up inside the door, barely breathing, traces of the drug still in my system. A wave of people searched for me, but they never entered this room. "Do you need help?" I turned to see a man standing behind me. I looked up at him, a man with a strikingly handsome face and a playful smile at the corner of his mouth. "I beg you, help me." Chen said nothing, quickly pulling me to the bathroom, washing away the effects of the drug. He even let me sleep in that room. That night was the most peaceful I ever slept while working at the nightclub. No drinking, no second-hand smoke, no fear of being dragged to a room by a drunk customer. Looking back now, I realized I had always loved that carefree and flamboyant demeanor of his, as if everything was within his grasp, and nothing was too difficult to handle. Chen finished applying the medicine. He carried me to the bed, tucking me in. He reached for his phone, his eyes flickering slightly. Quietly, he took my phone. "Get some sleep." I smiled at him and closed my eyes. Chen went to the bathroom. Suddenly, I remembered the message from my agent today. My new show aired today. It was the last show I filmed. I might not even get to watch the whole thing. I struggled to get up and turned on the computer. The first episode's comments were filled with insults. "Wow, the lead actress snatched someone's fiancé. Is that true?" The fiancé is a blogger. She posted about it clearly, with photos. Attached was her social media account. My lips trembled uncontrollably. I clicked on Yuan's account with shaking hands. She usually posted beautiful photos and vlogs of her study abroad life, but at the top was that post. A photo of Chen holding me, with Yuan looking heartbroken beside him. The comments were all in support of Yuan. This is infuriating. What's the actress's name? Let's expose her. The blogger is too pitiful. Strongly suggest she take back her fiancé and not let the third party win. Just an 18-line actress, not focusing on acting, just trying to find a rich man. Such people don't deserve to earn money in the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry is truly a cesspool. There were a series of true and false accusations. I was already painted as a woman who sold herself to climb up, greedy and vain. Chapter 8. Those comments pierced my brain like needles. I stared blankly, my face wet with tears. Chen's message popped up. "I have things to do tonight, won't be back." I also had Yuan's WeChat. I didn't know who added it. With trembling hands, I opened it. I had a thought that urgently needed confirmation. Yuan's moments were filled with "I'm happy to be with my beloved." Many people liked it. I laughed bitterly. Chen, why do you always shatter my hope whenever I see your good side? Why do you mock my naivety with harsh reality whenever I wonder if you might love me too? I curled up in my chair, but this time, no one asked if I needed help. At this moment, I was painfully aware, our 5 years were over. I was so cold, the wounds and bruises on my body burning like fire. Shivering, I left Lu's house. No one stopped me. I walked far before hailing a cab. Streetlights flashed by one after another. I stared out the window, dazed. A large truck honked loudly in the distance, rushing towards me. I got into a car accident. My ears buzzed, my world spinning, bright and chaotic. A crowd surrounded me, trying to save me. Am I going to die? A doctor leaned close to my ear. Hang in there, you'll be fine. I was rushed to the hospital, taken to the operating room. When I woke up, Chen was standing there, looking exhausted as if he hadn't slept for days. Seeing me awake, he softly asked, "How do you feel?" Chen's face was pale, his eyes red as he said, "Chongqian, what's this about cancer?" I looked at him, feeling numb. "I don't want to see you." Chen's face turned ashen, his lips trembling uncontrollably. "Chongqian, you're cancer. I'll cure you." I stared out the window, the autumn wind blowing leaves, desolate and lonely. "Just like me. Don't waste your effort." Chen's face went completely pale. I felt a small bit of satisfaction. "You've hurt me so much, I'll just repay you a little." "It's fair." Guoan hurried over, his face darkening at my condition. He punched Chen, who fought back fiercely. The two men fought in the hospital room. I watched calmly, not intervening. "Chen, are you okay?" Bai Yuan's urgent shout broke up the fight. Guoan adjusted his clothes, putting on his glasses, speaking to Chen. Rong Qian's car accident was likely no accident. Chen's face darkened. "What are you saying?" Bai Yuan nervously added, "I didn't do anything. I have no grudge against Miss Rong. I wouldn't hurt her." Guoan laughed. "I started investigating from the last assault. The public opinion was stirred by Bai Yuan, and this car accident was also her doing." Bai Yuan desperately interrupted, "What evidence do you have?" Chen, you have to believe me. I wouldn't do such a thing." Chen held Bai Yuan's hand, about to comfort her, but then saw my cold, icy eyes. "Chongqian." Chen murmured, as if unwilling to accept it. Guoan's assistant arrived, handing him a thick stack of documents. Guoan took them, throwing the stack at Chen's face. White papers fluttered down. Chen's face turned grim. Bai Yuan dared not speak, glancing cautiously at Chen. He clenched his fists, speaking to me. "Chongqian, I'll get to the bottom of this and give you an explanation." He then dragged Bai Yuan out. My body ached, but my heart hurt more. Even with the evidence in front of him, he still found excuses for Bai Yuan. Bai Yuan was always more important, always. Chapter 9. Guoan sighed, taking a cotton swab to moisten my cracked lips. "So gentle. I've always said you could come to me." "It's not safe," by Chen's side. I forced a smile. Safety didn't matter anymore. "I'm going to die." Guoan paused, then resumed naturally. "I'll help you." I laughed weakly. "Why help me? Don't you know?" Guoan interrupted me. "I've always known. But it's not your fault." I sighed, tears falling. Someone finally told me, "It's not your fault." After Chen, I had returned to school once. Groups of students chatted happily, seemingly carefree. Chen liked me wearing branded clothes and makeup, so when I appeared, I stood out. I stared at the school, once so familiar. My former teacher stopped me. "Rong Qian, why aren't you in school? How's your mom?" But seeing my branded clothes, she hesitated, then walked away silently, not caring anymore. I stared blankly at my clothes. I cried all the way back that day. I looked up at Guoan, smiling, my face still pale but looking better. "Thank you, Guoan." Guoan accompanied me to see my mother. The doctor recently said she showed signs of improvement, possibly waking up. I held her hand, stunned. A surge of joy mixed with sorrow and pain. "Mom, you have to live well for both of us." Her fingers moved slightly, her frail hand gently stroking my face. "Chongqian, are you doing well?" Tears fell. I joyfully held her hand, grateful to the heavens. In my last days, I could still see my mother wake up. I stayed in this hospital room. I wasn't afraid because my mother was nearby. Guoan visited daily, often bringing news about the Bai family's downfall. Chen investigated and retaliated against the Bai family. The Bai family will soon collapse. On his recent visit, Guoan brought this news. The TV was broadcasting a live report of the Bai family, looking defeated, announcing their bankruptcy. Chen had been attacking the Bai family, and Guoan had secretly helped. The Bai family finally fell, but Chen hadn't come yet. The nurses said a man often lingered outside, never entering. He only came at night, leaving in the morning. When I was nearly recovered, he finally faced me. Chapter 10. He looked haggard, with stubble and dark circles. His clothes were no longer as neat. He looked at me, hesitant, his usual arrogance gone, quietly watching me. Hoping I'd speak to him. I've prepared a lawsuit against Bai Yuan. She'll go to prison. Chen forced out the words. The room fell silent. I was almost recovered. Thank you. I replied politely. Chen's voice choked. I'm sorry I ignored you. I never thought Bai Yuan would. I interrupted him coldly. You knew from the start but didn't believe it, did you? Chen, I gave you a chance. I even planned to leave your world quietly. Why did you still hurt me? You helped my mother. I'm grateful. I've been with you for 5 years. I paused, then added, we're done. Chen's head hung low. My hand was cold, but he held on, unwilling to let go. Something cold dripped on my hand. Please leave. I don't want to see you. Chen didn't move, his eyes red, almost in tears, struggling to speak. I love you. He pleaded, holding my hand tightly. I hesitated until a commotion interrupted us. I walked outside to see Bai Yuan rushing over like a madwoman. You ruined everything of mine. Chen, isn't this woman just a stand-in? Don't leave me. Come back to me, please. Bai Yuan clung to Chen, tears streaming down, disregarding her image, pleading with him. My parents are unwell. Chen, please spare us. Chen. Chen roughly pushed her away. Bai Yuan, don't push me. You know I love Qian. I stood beside them, unmoved. Unexpressed love is still love? Bai Yuan laughed mockingly. Love? What a joke. Do you deserve to talk about love? It wasn't just me hurting Qian. Thanks to you as well. Your love is thin and cheap. You don't deserve to say love. You don't deserve it. Only I truly love you. Bai Yuan crazily lunged at me, but Chen blocked her. Bai Yuan, wait for your prison sentence. Bai Yuan glared at me, then smiled strangely. I sensed something wrong. She ran to my mother's room. Your daughter was kept by a rich man. She lied to you, saying she graduated and had a good job. She's deceiving you, ha ha ha. Do you know how much her hospital bills cost? Your daughter dropped out and was kept by someone. Bai Yuan ranted crazily. My mother, terrified, backed into a corner. She didn't stop. Your daughter ruined me. If not for her, my family wouldn't go bankrupt. Your daughter is a seducer. My mother looked at me, eyes filled with sorrow, then collapsed. My heart stopped, my whole body freezing, my heart iced over. Mom, I rushed over, tears streaming down. I held her, catching her falling body, but it was useless. The doctors rushed in but couldn't save her. I slapped Bai Yuan hard. I never harmed you. Why did you do this to me? Why did you kill my mother? I screamed at her, pain rolling inside me. Bai Yuan didn't answer. She stared at Chen, smiling, then was restrained. I lay on the ground, crying uncontrollably. I was a joke. Chen stood silently beside me, trying to help me up. I slapped him hard, his face turning aside. I held back tears, coldly telling him, from now until I die, don't appear before me. Chen seemed frozen, his eyes red, watching my tear-streaked face, softly saying, okay. Chapter 11. Guoan arrived, quickly arranging my discharge. I was nearly recovered, cancer notwithstanding. I still wanted to go out. My mother's grave was in a quiet place. She was strict, but always kind to me, never losing her temper. I tearfully touched her tombstone. That day, she didn't blame me. In her eyes, I saw the last bit of care. Daughter, are you doing well? I didn't know what Chen did, but Bai Yuan was sentenced to over 20 years. By then, she'd have lost the best years of her life. My scandals were cleared, and my halted show was rescheduled. My social media gained more followers, many expressing their fondness. Guoan opened each message, reading fans' words. Really like you, keep acting. My body was very weak. I didn't return to the hospital. The smell of disinfectant was unbearable. My mother left me there. I dreaded the place. Guoan understood, handling everything for me. Now, he softly agreed to my request. To Tibet. Tibet was beautiful and free. No one knew me. The bucket list remained. I crossed off an item. I finally reached Tibet. Under the blue sky, Guoan and I lay on the grass. Cough cough. I couldn't help but cough. Guoan gently patted my back. I was suddenly curious. Why are you so good to me? I stared deeply at him, my eyes unfocused. Struggling, I lay on the grass, feeling life slipping away. Why? Guoan kissed me gently, a tear falling on my lifeless face. Words scattered in the wind. I like you.